Sean Diddy Combs, you know the name, you know the music empire. But right now, all eyes are on a federal courtroom in New York.
Yeah, his sex trafficking trial is officially underway. Big news.
Absolutely. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, well, it's pretty straightforward. We want to cut through the headlines, give you a clear sense of what actually happened on day one of this trial based on the news reports coming out.
Right. Think of it as your shortcut to understanding these complex proceedings. We'll focus on the key stuff, the really important details from that first day.
Okay, so let's jump in. The trial kicked off, jury selection happened, and then bam, opening statements.
And what's immediately striking, looking at the reporting, is just how different the narratives are from the get-go. You've got these incredibly serious federal charges, and the prosecution and defense are painting, well, completely opposite pictures.
Totally. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Judson laid out the prosecution's case. She basically argued that Combs, this huge public figure, was secretly running things very differently behind the scenes for like 2 decades.
Yeah, the claim is coercion, forcing women into drug-fueled sexual encounters, using violence, intimidation, all to maintain control. It's a really stark accusation.
And it's not just isolated incidents they're alleging, right? They're talking about a whole pattern.
Exactly. They're framing it as a racketeering enterprise. That's a big deal legally. The list of alleged crimes under that umbrella is honestly pretty staggering.
Okay, break that down. What kind of things are we talking about?
Well, the racketeering charge itself, then specific allegations of forced sexual encounters, use of force, especially in these so-called freak-offs.
Those are the parties we've heard about?
Right. Reportedly, often recorded, lasting days sometimes.
Yes.
Then there's kidnapping, arson, drug offenses, other sex crimes, bribery, even obstruction of justice. It's extensive.
Wow. Okay. Then you have the defense's opening statement, Tenny Geragos. What was their angle?
Well, her strategy seems pretty clear. Push back immediately. She called the trial a misguided overreach, basically arguing this isn't sex trafficking at all.
So what is it, according to them?
She framed it as issues of love, jealousy, infidelity, and money, all happening between consenting adults. They seemed keen to, quote, cancel the noise around the case.
Consenting adults. That phrasing seems key, directly challenging the prosecution's core claim of coercion.
Absolutely. It sets up this fundamental conflict for the jury. Was this exploitation and trafficking, or was it messy relationships between adults who knew what they were doing? That's the battleground.
Okay, so beyond the opening statements, day one also saw some significant evidence start to surface and some initial testimony.
Right. One thing that seems central is that hotel surveillance video, the one from Los Angeles, March 2016, apparently showing Combs assaulting Cassie.
Yeah, that video has been talked about a lot.
And the prosecution made a point of saying they'll present the original recordings from the hotel, stressing they're different from maybe an edited version that was seen earlier. They clearly think the unedited footage is powerful.
Okay. And testimony. Who did we hear from?
First up was Israel Flores. He used to be a security officer at that hotel.
Ah, okay. What did he say?
He talked about responding to a distress call up on the 6th floor. Said he found Combs there wearing just a towel, described his expression as devilish, and noticed some damage, like a floor display was broken.
What about Cassie?
Flores testified that Cassie indicated she wanted to leave.
Well.
But then Combs allegedly said, "You're not going to leave."
Whoa.
Yeah. And Flores said he stepped in, told Combs, if she wants to leave, she's going to leave. Pretty direct confrontation, it sounds like.
That's a powerful piece of testimony, potentially corroborating that idea of control.
It definitely seems to support the prosecution's narrative. An eyewitness account of him allegedly trying to prevent her from leaving.
And wasn't there something else about money?
Right. Flores claimed that after Cassie left, Combs offered him money, saying something like, "Don't tell nobody." Flores said he took it as a bribe and refused.
Okay, that adds another layer, an alleged attempt to buy silence.
Exactly. That kind of detail, if the jury believes it, could really damage Combs' credibility. Flores refusing also makes him seem, more objective, perhaps.
Then we heard from someone else, Daniel Phillips, a male personal entertainer.
Yes, and his testimony was, well, quite disturbing. He described alleged events from back in 2013.
What did he claim?
He claimed he was paid to have sex with Cassie, while Combs allegedly watched and masturbated. Said he was hired thinking it was a bachelorette party, but found Cassie in lingerie.
Good grief.
He described multiple encounters, saying they were directed by Combs, who apparently tried to hide his identity, but Phillips recognized his voice.
That's incredibly unsettling. It adds a whole different dimension to the allegations.
It really does. Suggests a pattern of these orchestrated encounters, allegedly under Combs' control. The voice recognition detail is particularly specific.
And did Phillips say anything else?
He also testified that he witnessed Combs assault Cassie at some point, and he actually expressed fear for his own safety.
Fear for himself. That speaks volumes, doesn't it, about the alleged atmosphere?
It really underscores the potential power dynamics the prosecution is trying to establish, and suggests the alleged abuse wasn't just limited to that 2016 incident,
And we're expecting Cassie Ventura herself to testify, right? Reports say maybe Tuesday?
That's what FOX news sources are suggesting, yeah. Her testimony will obviously be absolutely pivotal. She's central to so many of these allegations.
No doubt. Her words will carry immense weight for both sides.
Definitely. The prosecution needs her account to really anchor their case about coercion and abuse over time.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. What about the reaction outside the courtroom?
Well, singer Jaguar Wright was there. She's been quite vocal supporting the alleged victims.
What does she have to say?
She spoke about the potential impact of this trial, not just for Combs, but for the whole music industry. She emphasized the need for vigilance, suggesting this could expose bigger issues.
Interesting. Sort of implying this might be the tip of the iceberg or could lead to wider changes.
That seems to be the sentiment, yeah. That a case against such a powerful figure could have ripple effects, maybe uncover systemic problems with power abuse and exploitation in the industry.
Right. Okay, let's make sure we're clear on the specific charges Diddy is actually facing. It's a federal case.
It is, and the list is long. The big one is the racketeering conspiracy charge. That covers a huge time frame, 2004 right up to 2024.
In racketeering, that means a pattern of criminal activity, basically.
Exactly. Under that IK charge, they list a whole bunch of alleged underlying crimes: kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction, drugs, forced labor, sex trafficking, transporting people for prostitution. It's a lot.
So RKO allows them to bundle all these alleged acts together as one big criminal enterprise.
That's the idea. It's a powerful tool for prosecutors targeting organized crime, suggesting this wasn't just random acts, but part of an ongoing operation allegedly run by Combs.
Okay, what else?
Then there are multiple specific counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. These cover different time periods, like 2009 to 2018, and then more recent ones from 2021 to 2024.
Different counts probably relating to different alleged incidents or victims?
Likely, yes. Reinforcing that idea of a sustained pattern. And those freak-off parties keep coming up in relation to these charges, with the drugging and coercion allegations being central.
There's also a Mann Act charge mentioned. What's that?
Basically, that makes it a federal crime to take someone across state lines for illegal sexual activity. Covers the period 2021 to 2023 in this case.
Got it. And we should remember those Homeland Security raids back in March, right, on his homes.
Absolutely. Those were reportedly linked to a human trafficking investigation, which really highlights how seriously law enforcement is taking all this.
And, of course, the crucial context. Combs has pleaded not guilty to every single charge.
Yes, that's vital. He maintains his innocence. These are allegations, and the trial is where the evidence will be tested.
These Argy's charges, just to be clear, they carry some serious potential penalties, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking potentially lengthy prison sentences and very substantial fines if convicted. RYESI is designed to dismantle criminal organizations, so the penalties reflect that.
And the reporting also briefly touched on Diddy's history, Bad Boy Records, all the artists he launched, fashion, TV.
Right, just providing that broader picture of who he is, this hugely successful figure, but also someone with a controversial past, like the acquittal in that 1999 nightclub shooting. It's context, not evidence in this trial, but as part of the backdrop.
And people might remember he was actually arrested back in October 2024 in New York related to these allegations. There was video of that arrest circulating.
Yes, that arrest brought things to a head. And just a practical note on the trial itself, it's not being televised.
Right, so we're relying on news reports and those courtroom sketches for visuals.
Exactly, and the court schedule is pretty standard, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Seems like they're settling in for a potentially long process.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive on day one, what are the main takeaways for you?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that stark contrast in narratives. The prosecution alleging this calculated long-term criminal enterprise involving coercion and abuse.
And the defense painting it as consensual relationships tangled up with jealousy and money, completely rejecting the trafficking claims.
Then you have the start of the evidence. That hotel video looming large, and the initial testimony, Floria's account of the confrontation and the alleged bribe attempt, Philip's really disturbing claims about orchestrated sexual encounters.
Yeah, those first testimonies definitely set a serious tone. And Jaguar Wright's comments outside reminded us this has potentially wider implications, right, for the music world.
Definitely. The gravity of these federal charges is immense, and the potential fallout, both for Combs personally and maybe the industry, is significant.
So, here's a final thought, something for you, the listener, to mull over. Considering what we heard on day one, the testimonies, the racketeering claims, what do you think will be the biggest challenge for the prosecution moving forward, proving that pattern, that enterprise over 20 years?
And on the flip side, how will the defense try to pick apart this evidence? How might they frame Cassie's expected testimony or counter the impact of that surveillance video? It's going to be fascinating and incredibly complex to watch unfold.